Thank you for being here, and I want to thank my colleagues to a person to stand before you today to speak to the residents of this city and to the people of the United States to simply say with a resolute voice that the city of Los Angeles will not relent in our fight against not just this baseless lawsuit that challenges our right to run this city, which we were all duly elected to do when the police chief was appointed to police, but we will hold this fight for all Americans. This administration has not only trampled on the Constitution in this city, horrified our residents, disrupted and handicapped our economy. He has trampled over what it means to be an American. And as we approach the celebration of the independence of this country, we in Los Angeles want to say to everybody that we understand the fight. We intend to stay in the fight. We intend to relent not one single inch of our sovereignty, of our dignity, but most of all our rights as human beings and our rights as citizens of this country. And so we'll fight this lawsuit. We'll fight all the investigations that the administration is throwing at us, and we will continue to defend the residents of this city despite what their documentation status might be. In Los Angeles, everybody is a human being, and we expect that they will be treated as such, and we will fight as hard as we can with everything we have to defend those rights. And so you'll hear from a number of members of the council today from different parts of the city, but we want to make that message clear to every Angelino. We do not intend to give an inch. And we are in this fight for the long haul and in the fight for the cause of justice and human rights. Councilmember Yaroslavsky.
Good afternoon. In a few days, families across Los Angeles and this country will gather to mark the 4th of July. We'll celebrate the ideals that have guided this country for nearly 250 years. Freedom, equality, and the promise that no one is above the law. But this week, as the Trump administration tries once again to drag our city into its campaign of fear and division, we're reminded that those ideals are not guaranteed. They are upheld only when we have the courage to stand together and defend them. The lawsuit filed against Los Angeles is just the latest attempt to gaslight the public and distract from a pattern of unconstitutional and discriminatory tactics playing out in our neighborhoods every single day. Agents showing up at our schools, our courthouses, our job sites, stopping people because of the color of their skin, demanding papers without cause, presenting blank warrants, and sometimes no warrant at all. These are not the actions of a government that respects the law. They show an administration that treats the Constitution like it can be ignored. They are straight up telling us that entire parts of the Constitution that are clear as day don't matter when they're inconvenient. Los Angeles refuses to be forced into complicity. We will not use our police officers as tools to tear families apart. We will not spend city resources helping the federal government violate basic rights that belong to every single person who calls this country home. The Fourth Amendment is clear. Due process is clear. Local government has the right and the duty to protect all its residents from overreach and abuse. Our city stands by our people. We stand by the millions who came here for opportunity, who work hard, raise families, and make Los Angeles stronger every day. We stand by the parents waiting outside detention centers, the children trying to find their fathers and mothers, the neighbors who open their doors and say, "You belong here." And we won't be distracted. Los Angeles will stay focused on what actually keeps communities safe: trust, care, and the certainty that everyone's rights are worth defending. Freedom means nothing without people willing to stand up for it. So we will keep showing up in the courts, in our neighborhoods, in our council chamber to protect the values this country was built on. Thank you. I'm now pleased to introduce my colleague, Councilmember McCosker.
Give it to him, Tim.
Thank you so much, Tim McCosker, Councilman of the 1-5. So we were served with a lawsuit. The city of Los Angeles was served with a lawsuit by the federal government, by President Trump and the U.S. Attorney, It is a baseless, ridiculous lawsuit. It has no credibility at all. What it tells us is that the local laws here are preventing, they claim that we are preventing the federal government from enforcing their law. That is just not true. On its face, it is not true. It is also saying that we can be compelled to enforce the federal law, do their job. That is also untrue. There are over 100 years of case law that tell us that this is a baseless lawsuit. This is the act of a bully, and this is the act of an incompetent attorney. It makes no sense. This is what bullies do. They will not rush to get a determination on this case. They filed this as a publicity stunt. It is a publicity stunt. It is gaslighting, as my colleague said. And what's bad about it is that it's not only bad on the law, but it's bad for public safety. It's bad for any measure of public policy. The reason why we, as local officials, don't ask people what their status is we want them to trust their government. We want all of our residents to be able to come forward and say, I was a victim of a crime. We want them all come forward if they are, in fact, a witness to a crime to say, I was a witness to a crime. Having people have trust in our LAPD, in our public safety systems, makes us all more safe. It makes us all more safe. And citywide, we want people to come forward to make sure they get the best health outcomes, the best education outcomes, the best opportunity to access resources. If we tell them we're going to ask their status, and if we invalidly say that we're going to enforce federal law, we're only making the city less safe. We're only making the city less effective. I, for one, and all of my colleagues are here because we took an oath. We took an oath to uphold the laws of this city, to uphold the laws and the Constitution of the state, and to uphold the Constitution of the United States. We're alone in this. We are the ones upholding the Constitution, unlike the federal government that is asking us to set aside constitutional principles. We will not do that. We will stand up for every resident of this city. I am so grateful to my colleagues. I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak to you. I'm grateful to serve with these folks to make sure that we do the right thing for every resident of this city. It is my honor to introduce my colleague, Councilmember Nithya Raman.
Thank you so much for those words, Councilmember McCosker, and for the entirety of the council in standing up against this ridiculous lawsuit. This lawsuit is a continuation of efforts that have been in place for the last 3 miserable weeks here in Los Angeles that have tried to undermine this city and tried to paint us as a radical and lawless place. Nothing could be further from the truth. Our sanctuary city policy, which is being classified as somehow a radical act, I want to remind everyone its history. It is codifying into law a practical response that has been in place here in the city of Los Angeles for decades, put into place by Daryl Gates. Remember noted radical Daryl Gates, a man who created the SWAT team, who created Operation Hammer, which went into South LA? These were people who were hardly radicals, and that is the roots of our sanctuary city ordinance. It is codifying a practice that for decades this city has understood keeps Angelenos safer. It is the opposite of a radical policy. It is, in fact, a policy that brings us towards greater safety and towards greater peace. And I am pleased that every single one of my colleagues is standing up against this lawsuit and towards continued efforts by the federal administration to undermine the constitutional protections and rights and public safety of Angelenos. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to invite up my colleague, Councilmember Jurado.
Thank you,
Councilmember Rahman, and thank you, Council President, for getting us all together. And thank you to my colleagues and to the people of Los Angeles for standing strong in defense of our city and its people. My name is Isabel Jurado, and I proudly represent the Fashion District, the Flower District, the Wholesale District, Boyle Heights, El Sereno, and Lincoln Heights in Highland Park, neighborhoods that have long borne the trauma and terror inflicted by ICE. I'm also the proud daughter of immigrants. Today, the Trump administration is once again using fear as a policy and cruelty as a campaign strategy. This baseless lawsuit is a politically motivated attack on our values, an attempt to punish the people of Los Angeles for standing up for our immigrant communities. Our Sanctuary City Ordinance was created to protect our communities from the violence, fear, and chaos fueled by the Trump administration. It exists to protect our neighborhoods from federal government more interested in headlines than in human dignity. This lawsuit is just the latest of a political public stunt, a cynical effort to scapegoat immigrant families who continue to show extraordinary resilience, courage, and strength in the face of a relentless cruelty. Make no mistake, they're trying to trample the rights of Angelenos. They're trying to force our city to become an extension of ICE. They're trying to punish us for refusing to be complicit in a campaign of fear. But we will not let that happen. We, as City Council, stand united. We are in full solidarity with the people of Los Angeles, especially our immigrant and working class communities who have built this city with their hearts, their hands, and their hopes. Our Sanctuary City Ordinance is not just a policy, it is a promise that no child should fear losing a parent, that no worker should be afraid to earn an honest living, that no neighbor should be forced into the shadows. It's a promise that Los Angeles will always remain a place of refuge and dignity for all. And to the Trump administration, I say this: you will not intimidate us, you will not divide us, and you will not erase the values this city is built on. And to the people of Los Angeles, we've got your back. We will fight this lawsuit in court. We will resist every effort to turn our city into the arm of the federal deportation machinery. And we will stand together to defend our ordinance, our communities, and our future. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just a legal battle, it's a moral one. And we know exactly which side we're on. We will do everything in our power to ensure Los Angeles remains a place of refuge and dignity for all. And that's just not a commitment, as Councilmember McCosker said. It's an oath, it's a vow. And so thank you, and I'd like to introduce Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you. I'm Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, representing the 7th District in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. And to not be redundant to what my colleagues have said, yes, we are going to fight this lawsuit. But let's make it clear. This is nothing more than a performative political stunt aimed at distracting both Angelenos and cities across the country from the true malfeasance which is occurring at our federal level. And this city will remain focused and intact against these efforts to continue to divide and distract us from the rights that they are attempting to strip away from citizens across this country. This is a moment in time where people need to remember what this country stands for and what it represents. And this is not a message just to Angelenos. This is my message for people across the country. Because we are in a moment, an inflection point in this country where we will either uphold and defend the promise of what this country represented. In a few days, we will be honoring and celebrating a moment in this country's history where we separated ourselves from British rule and a king. And it's a moment to remind us all that we, the people, have the power to hold this administration accountable, to protect and uphold the Constitution of the United States, and to ensure that representatives from across this country do the same. In Los Angeles, we will remain the tip of that spear in the form of justice, in the form of the protection of the Constitution and the rights that it provides us. But make no mistake, this message for people across the country to heed the call. That this is a moment in time and an inflection point in this country that we need to determine and ascertain who are we going to be in this moment. Are we going to lament the effects of what's happening to the people as we've seen it happen in Los Angeles, to our Latino families, to those that are being racially profiled and targeted? Not criminals, hardworking individuals that are showing up to live their life and that are being targeted because of the color of their skin. Are we going to come back generations from now and lament how that was affecting us? Or are we going to stand up in the face of this now? This is a call to action. This is a call to action for every person in this country who sees the wrong to stand up to right it. This is the moment that we're living in. And so yes, the city of Los Angeles will be the tip of that spear and fight with this lawsuit. But make no mistake, the power rests in the hands of the people. And if we show up, let us be heard. Thank you.
We'll now hear from Councilmember Padilla from the 6th Council District in the San Fernando Valley.
Hi everyone, I'm going to say a few words for our Spanish-speaking community. A todos que están escuchando hoy, nomás les quería decir que todos en el concilio estamos manejando este caso como lo que es un truco publicitario político. No hay ningún manual que nos diga cómo trabajar con esto, pero por eso hemos trabajado para asegurarnos directamente con las familias para que ustedes tengan el conocimiento y las herramientas para protegerse a sí mismos, a sus familias, a sus vecinos y a sus trabajadores. Hemos utilizado nuestras plataformas para compartir esos recursos, desde protecciones legales hasta consejos de seguridad, para que nadie tenga que enfrentar esos desafíos solos. En este momento, nuestro enfoque principal está específicamente en las familias y los que han sido afectados. Asegurarnos que tengan su oportunidad de agarrar abogados cuando los necesiten y también ser apoyados en estos días cuando a lo mejor uno no pueda ir a trabajar, no pueda ir a llevar a sus hijos o ir a comprar comida. Para eso están nuestras oficinas y lo que son las organizaciones que les quieran ayudar con esto, porque como dije, no hay ningún manual que nos pueda decir qué hacer en estos días. Así que les pido a todos que sigan comunicándose con sus amigos, familiares, trabajadores y vecinos en este tiempo difícil para que nos podamos seguir ayudando unos a los otros. Pero nosotros, su concilio, les podemos prometer que estamos haciendo todo lo que podamos para que todo lo que esta administración quiere hacer para ponerlos en evidencia o en vergüenzas y decir que lo que estamos haciendo en querer proteger nuestra comunidad inmigrante no vale. Sí se vale, sabe que vale, y nosotros como su concilio vamos a hacer todo lo que podamos para seguir peleando con todas nuestras herramientas legales. Gracias y que Dios nos los cuide.
Thank you so much. Now we'll hear from Councilmember Bob Blumenfield.
Thank you. Warrantless searches, masked men with guns indiscriminately taking people off the streets. I don't recognize this country sometimes. We're celebrating our Independence Day. We are a thriving democracy, but we have a president who wants to goose step us from democracy to authoritarianism. Well, that pathway, that goes through Los Angeles. And we in the city council, we are locking arms and we are blocking that path. And we are saying, no, we will not go down that path. We are a democracy. We care about the rule of law. We care about the Constitution. And we will not let it be sacrificed here in Los Angeles or anywhere across this great country. So we are taking steps, many different types of steps. We talked about the lawsuit. We will fight in court every legal way that we can. We will work in our communities to make sure that people are educated, whether that's handing out red cards, resource fairs, etc. People need to know their rights, because you do not have a right without a badge or a warrant to come in and just pick somebody off the street. So we will teach folks their rights, make sure people know them, and we will work to bolster those rights and to create safe spaces in this city, because that pathway, we stand to block this march for the entire country, and we take that responsibility seriously, and we will work hard to defend our democracy. Thank you.
Next, we'll have Councilmember Price, followed by Councilmember Park, and then Councilmember Nazarian.
Thank you, Mr. President. What we are witnessing today is a real collapse, moral collapse in real time. That's why I'm so proud to stand with my colleagues on the council and the citizens in the city of Los Angeles. We are not going to be silenced. We're not going to be pushed aside. We're going to be fighting for what's right. The federal government can threaten us with lawsuits, as we've seen. They've got an action now that has dubious merit. They can militarize our streets, and we've seen them bring in the National Guard and the Marines. But they can't take away the dignity of our people. They can't take away the strength that we have. They can't erase the values that we have, building this as an important city. And they really aren't going to take away our fight, our determination, our persistence, as you've heard. We're taking this very personal. No single man, no king, no president is able to trample over the constitutional rights that we have, and we're not going to let that start today. So again, we're raising our voices in solidarity, not only with Angelenos, but with Californians and with those all around our country that are watching with a great deal of interest what transpires. And just days before Independence Day, it's significant. Days before Independence, that we're having this discussion, that we're having this press conference, that we're having this realization that it's going to be important for us to fight every day, every way, making certain that we have the freedoms that we have are exercised and are becoming more of an opportunity for us to make this the kind of community that we want to have. And we can do it if we fight, and we will. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This lawsuit is not promoting public safety, and these raids have not made our city any safer either. This administration said it was going to go after traffickers, organized crime, and dangerous individuals who pose a direct threat to public safety. But instead, they're targeting hardworking immigrants who contribute to every layer of our economy, who thrive in our communities. They're separating families who are just trying to contribute and make a decent living. Masked thugs rolling up on fruit vendors at our local parks, snatching people who are just trying to work to take care of our citizens and their families. People are afraid to come to work. They're afraid to get medical care. The city of LA shouldn't be used to enforce federal immigration laws. We have our own challenges, and our city's independence matters, and so do the rights and the dignity of the people who call our city home. Thank you.
First and foremost, Adrien Nazarian, Council District 2, Eastern and Southern San Fernando Valley. Wanted to thank my colleagues and my council president for the stand and for voicing out our concerns. To all our friends and allies outside of the city of Los Angeles, outside of California, just remember that this is another step in the ploy of making sure that we're depleting our funds. Federal government can print money, federal government can go into debt, but cities can go broke. And this is just another effort by this government, this administration, to make sure that we're depleting our funds. First, it was sending an unorganized, random methodology of causing terror and fear by raiding and causing chaos to have our own police force work against our own public. That was a bait in itself. Now there's another bait of making us spend money on lawsuits. So just wanted to let know our friends and allies in other places within the United States not to fall for the bait. I also wanted to say that we're not going to compromise public safety to cover for the federal government's failed immigration policy. We've had 5 decades and longer to come up with an immigration policy that would be fair, that would allow everyone to know how to realize the dream of being an American and to do so legally and rightfully. Federal government has failed to do that. Now it's using it against its own cities. Thank you all for being here and for amplifying our voices.
All right, we'll close with Councilmember Hernandez from the 1st District.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eunices Hernandez. I represent the 1st District here in the city of LA. That starts from Highland Park, goes through Chinatown, MacArthur Park, Pico, Union, Westlake, all the way down to University Park. Once again, the Trump administration is trying to punish Los Angeles because we've chosen to lead with compassion and common sense instead of bending the knee to hatred and ignorance. I'm one of the co-authors with my colleagues of the Sanctuary City Ordinance, and no amount of bullying from this administration will make us turn our back on keeping families together and keeping this city safe and whole. Because in Los Angeles, we don't criminalize the economic engine of the city. We don't ask for immigration status when someone needs help. We don't champion racial profiling. That's called responsible constitutional governing. Meanwhile, this administration is deploying mass federal agents to snatch random people off the streets with no due process, ripping families apart for political points, targeting innocent people in pursuit of the American dream. That's not law and order. That's not family values. That's violent, that's foolish, and that's straight up unconstitutional. This lawsuit is an attempt to shift attention away from what they really don't want the people to be talking about right now. Something that's going to impact millions of Americans all across our nation. What they don't want you to talk about is that the budget, the big bill that they're talking about, cuts Medicaid, slashes food assistance, abandons our elders, and undermines basic rights across the city. It takes a special kind of ignorance to think that threatening cities, especially those in the state with the 4th largest economy in the world, will solve any of the challenges facing our country. This country needs us and our labor to survive. Los Angeles will continue to lead with humanity and with the best interests of our communities at heart, because that's what we do. And in moments like these, where the federal government is showing the worst of its sides, Los Angeles is showing the best of it. Our doors remain open, our commitment remains strong, and our work to protect our economy, defend due process, uphold the Constitution, and keep families together will continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you to the members of the council for being with us today, and thank you to members of the press for helping us get the word out to our residents and to the world about the position of the city of Los Angeles. I know members have to get to committee. There are a few of us that are still here. I think there are maybe 8 of us that are still here, and we would love to talk to you, but just please excuse some members have to get to committee and to other business. So thank you all very much.